And everybody, we are live. Welcome to the 3+1 live cast. We have a very special panel tonight. I think a pretty good episode. As you guys can see, I'm wearing my Georgia shirt.
All right.
Let me see Georgia. You can see enough. It's Georgia Strong here. So we are gonna really, I think, have a great discussion tonight. We want everyone out there. You are going to possibly have, I hope that you have a lot to say. I know there's a lot of things on your mind. We want you to share and engage as we talk about election 2020 and all of the drama and all of the updates and all the things that are happening. So, of course, it's always an honor to be joined by my amazing and beautiful co-host, Tracy Bonner. How are you, Tracy?
I am wonderful. It's so good to be back. I missed you.
I missed you too. We took some time away because the Thursday nights were the debates. So those nights, we didn't want to have anything to interfere with this election. And then, Tracy, I thought I was going to miss you tonight as well because you were running lines for a brand new role that you have. I know you can't talk about it, but we're excited for you. Everyone in the 3+1 community, pray for you and your continued growth.
Okay, for my continued growth. Amen. Amen. I'm going to go ahead and take over.
We can't. That's Trump. That's that Trump spirit. That might be what's the name that was praying, pushing and pushing.
Kellyanne Conway. It was the spirit of Kellyanne Conway. Omarosa. Came on through. What? We are joined in addition to my amazing and beautiful co-hostess. And if I freeze up again, because I did not restart my modem, I realized that helps if I shut it all down and restart it, but I didn't have time. We are joined by the one and only Absalom Zachariah Thomas. How are you doing, Zach?
I'm good. I'm feeling good.
You have the pronouns listed: he, him, and his.
Right.
We are happy to have all three of you with us tonight. All three, the he, him, and his. Zach, a leading expert in diversity and inclusion, and we're also joined by my five guys on live co-host, Vince Ashton. Vince, how are you?
I'm here, man. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I've been pacing around my living room like the walls of Jericho for the past 48 hours. So yeah, so a lot going on.
That's right. While they are screaming Omarosa, we are screaming Hosanna in the highest. So we're ready. We're ready. Like you said, walking around those walls of Jericho, all in anticipation of these results. And before we go any further, I want to let everyone know that Vince has a phenomenal cheesecake company with I think 30 flavors of fresh cheesecakes and in the Atlanta area. Tracy and I are getting ready to do our 3+1 media favorite things. I have stuff rolling in. I have all types of goodies coming for the basket events for our local Atlanta. We're going to do two baskets. We're going to do one basket that we're going to put in the mail and one basket for the Atlanta community. Are we going to be able to get a coupon for a cheesecake in our Atlanta basket?
Yeah, let's do it. I would love to be a part. Definitely.
That'll be great. Zach Thomas, what you got for the basket?
No pressure, Zach. Look, I'm on your team.
Thank you, Tracy. I can offer some consulting. I've been with D&I as a hot topic in a lot of places. I offer some free consulting for if somebody needs it for their company.
I don't know if anybody gonna want that in our community.
Well, they might need it. Some of us might need it.
Now that Trump gets reelected, because Donald Trump said ain't gonna be no diversity teaching under his next wife.
Oh, diversity, yes.
We don't have 2 more months of that.
So you know what, Angie? Angels from Africa came, but they ain't come for Trump. I saw that, and so I need someone to explain it to me though, because I didn't have a chance to watch it. So Vince, you guys know about it, and so I want y'all to explain that reference to me. And Candace, D&I stands for diversity and inclusion. Diversity and inclusion. So we're gonna explain the Africa, the angels from Africa. Who knows about the angels from Africa while we queue up this map?
So it was the angels from Africa and South America, i.e. as Trump has famously called them, ish-hole countries. So Paula White, a real renowned televangelist, pastor here in the States, you know, she has been a big advocate for Trump. I believe she did a whole prayer meeting, a prayer night or a night of worship or something last night, and she was speaking in tongues, and the person behind her was walking back and forth with the prayer blanket, and they said the Karen was on the floor doing push-ups and praying. Black lady in the corner was doing liturgical, and she was just, I see victory, I see victory, I see victory in the name of Trump. So that's basically where that came from.
She didn't say in the name of Trump, did she?
Well, the focus is for Trump to call Trump into office.
Okay, interesting. So I gotta look at. I'm not gonna look at it, Angie. I saw your post and I saw the lady, but I didn't look at it because I'm like, I'm not giving this. I can't handle her. She don't serve the God I serve. But let me tell you about the God I do serve. The God I serve just made a new announcement. I want to give everybody some breaking news. This comes from the one and the only Reverend James Woodall, the president of the Georgia NAACP, former student at Eagles Landing High School where I worked. As of 8:59 p.m., the margin of victory has now decreased to only 2,497 votes.
Come on, Jesus!
And the votes are still coming in. We are still waiting to see where those votes are outstanding. They are still coming in. They have drank the Kool-Aid. We all know that reference and what that means. I have to say, I want to say the anniversary of the Georgetown massacre is coming up, Rhonda, in Guyana. I think everyone who knows me knows that, you know, I have an affinity and a love for the nation of Guyana. And that massacre that happened in 1978 is coming up, the anniversary of that. And we know what happens when they drink that Kool-Aid, and that's the same thing that will happen to them, unfortunately, for following Trump. So, you know, their God of white supremacy does not exist. And I am out. So this is the map, everybody. This is where we stand right now with projections for Arizona and Nevada to go for Trump. We know that Fox News called Arizona to go to Biden. Fox News called Arizona to go for Biden, but no one, and the Associated Press did, but many news agencies didn't. I think Arizona is still in play. Nevada is very close, still in play. I think North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Georgia also still in play. This is a very exciting time, but it's also a very nerve-wracking time. I want to know what you guys think about this election map. Open the floor, and I'm muting.
Exciting. This is not exciting. This is y'all listen. I gotta put my food down. I have literally not slept. I mean it. Around 2 or 3, my eyes start to close, but around 4 o'clock, I wake up. Y'all, this is not exciting. This is scary because, y'all, this is the most incompetent president that we've had. And this is the most, for me, dangerous president that we've had in a very long time. When I'm only speaking for me, because I know a lot of my friends are like, I got a gun and I'm prepared and all of this, but I'm still scared. For me, I'm still scared because I just really think people are going to retaliate. They're not going to take this loss well. And if he wins, they're going to use this as leverage. You know what I'm saying? And leverage for them to continue to be mean, to continue to be negative. And so I'm worried about innocent lives. This feels like the real life Purge. Have y'all seen Purge 3? I think that was the one where the female president, it reminds me of that. And even the last Purge was like that. It feels like now because it focused on the Black community. It focused on, we're going to target the Black community first, you know? And so that's why I'm nervous. Now I'm muting. Next. Who's next? Go.
Yeah, you know that I haven't seen it, Tracy. So that gives me something to do for the weekend. So I'm excited. You know, I am still celebrating, you know, the wonderful decade that is the 40s. So I am going, despite how great my, look at the skin. Y'all see the skin? My barber took my hairline back. Y'all see how he took the hairline back? I'm working on that. Also, if you notice, you can see the beard is coming in. I'm doing a no shave November for the first time in my life. You know, I like to keep a clean look, but I'm like, it's quarantine, so I'm going to grow it out. Zach Thomas here has always told me I need to grow it out. We're going to see how I look. It's also going to give me a little bit of right. It's going to help frame my face because I'm 18 pounds overweight. And so while I lose those 18 pounds between now and December the 5th, because I'm going to lose some weight, it'll make me look a little thinner, like, a little bit. So with that being said, in this discussion, I want to know, Zach, what you think about Tracy's fear. Renee, my good friend Renee Wolfinger, good friend of mine, agrees. This is what I think. I really believe, guys, that the people who are out here supporting and holding and standing for President Trump, y'all, I believe that they really did believe everything they saw. And I don't think they believe that people wouldn't feel the way they feel. And they can't believe that you don't think the way they think. It's like their whole world has been upended. I don't believe that many of them are going to become violent. I think it's a 1% small group of people, not the majority of Trump supporters. I don't think the majority of them feel that way. It's a small number, but it only takes one bullet to kill me. It only takes one bullet to kill me. So I still have a level of concern, but I think that this is playing out well. When you look at example, Fulton County, they are live streaming the counting of those ballots. In Maricopa County, Nevada, Arizona, they are live streaming. You can see on the internet how the ballot count is going. There is no shady business, and that's going to protect them from lawsuits, and it's going to ensure that we have the right winner declared. Gentlemen, what do you guys think about Tracy's fear?
No, I can definitely see there being fear, especially based off his Trump supporters. They don't have anything to lose. And so they feel like, oh, we didn't win. We got to win somewhere. But I want to say it's a new day. It's a new day. This type of energy that is going to happen once we announce Biden the new president, and how it takes Blacks, Latinos to come out and vote in droves to determine this election. Because if you didn't hear what he was saying, he was trying to pretty much suppress us, saying Philly, Detroit, all those places were corrupt. Okay, come on, bring your people to Philly, Detroit, Atlanta. We'll see how corrupt they are. And then there's a new wave of black people who are armed and ready for this. I don't know if you saw the video from our great state of Mississippi, Hollis Springs, where this white lady, this Karen, got into this woman's face and was saying, no, you shouldn't be doing this. And the woman just mushed her and said, no, you in my space. Get out. And so it's a new day. So they just better be ready if they ready to mess with us.
Can we put a pin in the Latino community? Can we please put a pin in that?
Thank you.
And maybe
because I do want to talk about that more, because especially people thinking Latinos and Blacks are monoliths, and so we need to talk more about that. Yes,
but here's the thing. But I agree with what to talk about. We can go into it right now, because I also want to say this. This is something that, and I'm sorry, Vince. Vince be like, you know, he's tired of me talking. I know, but I don't want to miss a moment, because look. We can't look at the Black vote and the Latino vote as the votes that did this. They contributed a great deal, but you got to look at demographics. And people get angry when I say this, and I'm going to still say it with 13% of the population. Decent white people did the right thing. And if decent white people wouldn't have done the right thing, Donald Trump would have won by a landslide. We have to stop focusing on the less of everybody. I don't think we should focus on the 18% of Black men that voted for Trump. I don't think they matter. I don't think we should talk about the 45% of the Latino Hispanic vote that went to Donald Trump in Florida. Because guess what? Florida has now been deemed inconsequential. Florida, you don't matter. Not only do you not matter, but I'm never going back to see. I'm not going to Florida. I love Miami. I go to Miami every year, as everyone who knows me know. But I am not going to give you another dollar of a dime, a freaking half of a penny until you come back blue. No way, Miami. You lost me, and I hope you lose a lot of tourism. I think we need to uplift the positive parts of every demographic that did the right thing. Just want to say it before it's too late.
Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that.
Yeah. For me, it's mixed emotions, but more so leaning on the exciting side or being excited side. Regardless if Georgia goes blue or not, I am so proud of this state. I feel like, just like Andre 3000 said, the South has something to say. I feel like a lot of common sense hit Georgia. I really also want to commend Stacey Abrams. I feel like she did a lot of groundwork with the Fair Fight, and she is has been an essential part in why a lot of metropolitan areas throughout the state have gone blue. Macon, Brunswick. Shout out to Brunswick for getting the lady out of office who did Ahmaud Arbery's case wrong. Savannah, Augusta, even Cobb County turned blue. And speaking of concerns, that's where I reside right now. And so, when I've been traveling to Kennesaw to go shopping every now and again, you have seen a lot of Trump Pence signs and stuff. And so I did feel a little concerned, but us now having a black sheriff, right, in Cobb County, as well as Henry County, and I think Gwinnett has a black sheriff for the first time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think those are the 3 counties. So I think there's a lot of things to be excited about. There's something that I just like to call incremental success, just the little things. Like, yes, our eyes are on the prize for the Oval Office, but there's a lot of other great things that have been happening this election cycle. The fact that we also have 2 Senate runoffs. So the same energy that we have right now needs to shift in January and making sure that we are supporting Warnock and Ossoff. So there's some great positive things. Stay out of Kennesaw. Yes, I have learned my lesson. But there are a lot of great things to celebrate about. So, I'm just remaining hopeful and optimistic, and, we'll see. I need Nevada to hurry up. God dang nabbit.
I have to agree, and I have to apologize I am making a formal apology to the one and the only Zach Thomas. Unmute. Who am I going to apologize to? Tell the word before I even say it. Who am I now going to apologize to?
Your cousin?
No, I'm apologizing to Stacey Abrams. Zachary Kirk has been exceptionally hard on Stacey Abrams because of her tenure and record in the Georgia House, the Georgia legislature. I felt as though she was not the strongest leader for the Democratic Party during her tenure. I still feel like her time in the House wasn't the strongest time for the Georgia Democrats. I feel like we lost a lot of ground. We went backwards, and it hurt the party in the state. But I want to say, if there's anybody in the world that has overcome the past and made up for it 20 times over, it is the one and the only Stacey Abrams. I did not support Stacey Abrams as a candidate for vice president of the United States. I had a whole lot of trash to talk and things to say, and my friends know that. But I overstepped, I overreached, and I was wrong. Stacey Abrams is an American hero, and she came through. She worked hard, and she laid down a foundation in the state of Georgia that made tonight possible. And we may not turn blue, but the fact that we are within 3,000 votes of turning blue, the fact that someone like Senator David Perdue, who is a multimillionaire for Purdue Chicken, who has a storied career in politics of buying his way throughout corruption and lining the pockets of his friends, is in a runoff with an almost unknown Jon Ossoff, who really has nowhere near that type of political pedigree. It is a major accomplishment, and that wouldn't have happened without Stacey Abrams. So Stacey Abrams, I'm sorry. And to all of her fans, I am sorry. I was wrong.
So do you think she belonged in the cabinet or the administration?
I do not want Stacey Abrams to be in the cabinet. I want Stacey Abrams to resume her rightful position as the governor of Georgia. I want Stacey Abrams to use this framework and this network that she's created in our state, and I want her to take back the election that was so wrongly stolen from her and really make Georgia a blue state with blue policies. That's what I want.
I agree. I think there's a lot of work that she again has laid down thus far, and I would love to see her as governor of Georgia. She deserves it, and I hope come 2022. I think that's when we vote for the governor, that we show out on her behalf, whomever, But hopefully it is her if she decides to run again.
Brian Kemp has to go. He is one of the worst governors in the country. He has to go. And guess what? Brad Raffensperger is our Secretary of State. Did he do a much better job with this election? He sure did. Did we forget how you messed up June and July? No, we didn't. Homeboy, you got to go to. Both of y'all about to lose your job, period. You're out of here. You're done. You're going to go. And if the Republicans run them, they're running two losing candidates because we don't forget what you did. And absolutely, Angela Ossoff is in. This is the thing. Purdue was up, Ossoff was out. As these absentee ballots came in, let me tell you something about, look, you see this shirt? Hold on. I got to take this thing off. Hold on right here. Wait 1 minute. Let me go up here and where it say Ossoff and look at this shirt. In Georgia, we don't play those games. We go straight down that ballot in most cases. And we voted for Biden and Ossoff, Warnock. And as a result, Jon Ossoff now has a 49%, and so does David Perdue, 49%. Neither one has to require 50+1 to go on, and there will be a runoff. So there is still a chance that both Georgia Senate seats will go blue.
But do you think the population will be the same for people coming back out to vote? That's always not as good.
This is what's going to happen, though. Georgia is going to be the center of America's political world from November the 7th, 8th until January the 6th, 7th. And there's going to be everyone looking and pushing and trying to make this happen. I believe that North Carolina is still an option. I do. They have not called North Carolina, Zach Thomas. If you are seeing Michigan flip, you are seeing Wisconsin flip, you saw Arizona flip, I still believe there is a chance. Now,
I think no, because one, yes, North Carolina reelected their Democratic governor, but yet Tom Tillis got into office. And so Tom Tillis, Trump, still on the same wavelength. That's why I think North Carolina is going to go.
How many ballots are outstanding in North Carolina?
I don't know. But I think they're like at 90% though.
They're at 95%, but you got to look at the total population of North Carolina. 95%.
If you look at the places, they're saying, of course, the blue areas of Mecklenburg County, of like Charlotte, Wake County, Raleigh, those areas, they're going to probably come in highly for Biden. But you also have to look at those other small places too. And I don't think they're that high in those large places like they were in like Philadelphia and Detroit and things like that. So we'll see. I'm not banking on North Carolina.
Regardless, we still need those two seats. And here's the thing, you never know. Let me tell you something about the United States Senate. People have switched parties for political advantage in the past. We have had Republicans turn Democrat and Democrats turn Republican. Don't think that can't happen again. If I am a Democratic leader, I am talking to my Republican friends who may have been aligned with Trump wrongly, like Susan Collins of Maine, and I'm trying to convince her to turn and become a Democrat. I am working those angles to get control of the Senate because we need it. It's not impossible. Angie said South Carolina hurt me. Did South Carolina hurt anyone else on the line?
You know what? Me with South Carolina, it didn't hurt me. It was unfortunate. I do have to commend Jamie Harrison. I think he did a phenomenal job. He gave Lindsey a run for his money. But at the end of the day, South Carolina is still very conservative. I know a lot of people were confused why Mitch McConnell got his seat in Kentucky. Kentucky is still very conservative. So in the midst of these next 2 to 4 years, I just think it's all about conversing with people on the other side of the aisle, that whole kind of thing, and then just making sure that those Democratic candidates that are coming up the pipeline for Kentucky and South Carolina, present themselves in a stronger way, maybe than the current candidates that lost did. But it's interesting. But South Carolina didn't hurt me.
It didn't hurt me. I kind of figured Lindsey Graham would win because he and Mitch McConnell, they are one and the same, in my opinion, in the way they
get Judy's,
the way they move. And but I wanted to say this, guys. I think this election has really unveiled how much we are uneducated about politics, and maybe I shouldn't say me, how uneducated I am, and my circle. To be quite honest, we're a bunch of artists. We don't really focus on politics and things like that. But I want to share something that I did because I knew my circle just was uneducated. I got together and did a Zoom education night for politics, and I invited Zach, and he was like our political analyst, and he helped us to have these real discussions about policies, about how what Biden did with the 94 crime bill. We researched this stuff together, and we had some real honest, open conversations. We looked over the ballots together to make sure when we went in, we had no question who we were voting for. Because I'm going to be honest, I used to just go in and just say, if they Democrat, Democrat, and I was not really researching their platforms for my understanding. So I want to encourage everybody else, please try to get these parties going, these voting parties together so we can become more educated, because I also learned that we are getting a lot of our information from Instagram and Facebook. I had a client say to me on Friday, she is torn, not between the candidates, but torn about voting. And it just really hurt my feelings because I'm like, what are you torn about voting for? And she would tell me all this information she got. And I'm like, well, where did you get your information? She said, Facebook. Oh, so you weren't prompted to research after you saw it on Facebook? And that is what we are dealing with, people. We have folks like Angela Rye and Charlemagne the God get up there and do lives, and because they brother and sister, and they sit there and say, we need to withhold the vote and we need to not do this. We need to demand certain things. And I think we do. But if there's no strategy behind it, if there's no plan, you're telling people who are uneducated to withhold your vote, and so we got to start educating. More than anything, I feel I learned that we are ignorant when it comes to civics.
I have to agree with you, and even just really quickly to co-sign with what you just said, I think that education matters so much, especially going into the Senate runoffs. I feel like if people are educated enough in knowing that just because in the event that Biden becomes president, if he has a Republican-owned Senate, that I don't want to say literally means nothing, but that is going to be very damaging for the policies and stuff that he wants to create and that he wants to bring to the table. So everything that he's laid out, we need a Democratic Senate to assist him in this goal. So I feel like if we educate people on why the Senate is important from October all the way up to January, hopefully that will light another fire under them. I have to agree with Tracy, even myself. I feel like in high school, in college, even in college, I didn't really get a lot of civic training and civic education stuff. It's not until like the past 2 elections where I've done my own due diligence and, just become more detailed and knowledgeable about things. So we all have to take accountability and educate each other. I think that's very important.
Calvin brought in some great information when he shared that there are over 400,000 votes still open in North Carolina. That is that's good news. And Tracy, you also bring up a really good point. Rhonda asked about the popular vote versus the Electoral College, or what matters. I'm going to talk about that next. I actually have a great informative diagram that I'm going to show you that explains the Electoral College and kind of breaks down some misconceptions that people have, because that's an important part of understanding the election process. Number one, like Quail is here. Raquel is an educator. She's a history teacher. You know, she has a degree in history, social studies educator, and she can vouch for how all across America we have prioritized mathematics and what they consider to be language arts, and devalue the role of civics. When I was in school, I literally took civics in 9th grade, and then it was reinforced in, U.S. history. And then it was again reinforced in 12th grade in American government. These courses now have become what are called, social studies electives. They're not even required. And the way that social history education in America is now being legislated by Republicans has watered down even what you can learn in school. And it's a big deal, and that's very unfortunate. So many people don't know these things. And also Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, who also owns Instagram, exists to cause voter suppression and misinformation in this campaign. It's been proven, it's been talked about, it's gone before Senate committees. It is very unfortunate. So we have to be very careful about Facebook and about who we go to and look to for our information. It's a big deal. We can still, I believe that North Carolina, I don't know if it's going to flip to go for Cunningham. Is that his name, Zach Cunningham? And I'll say that because Cunningham wasn't a great candidate. Cunningham had scandals. He had a scandal happen right before the election that probably hurt him a great deal, but it's possible. You're right, Vince. Nothing that Biden and Harris will want to do will happen with a Republican Senate. And then the American people will say, well, they didn't do anything. Well, I'm hopeful that Joe Biden will be like President Obama and President Clinton and do lots of executive orders like Trump and push and force the agenda down the throats of the American people, because that's the only way he's going to make progress.
Do you not think that Republicans, after seeing, because I know they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed by who they have now, and they just afraid to come out. Do you not think that Biden will be able to do some bipartisan bills and legislation that could definitely work for the United States? He's saying, I'm not the president for the red states or the blue states, but the United States. Do you not think that he can work across aisles?
No.
Being in the Senate 47.
Let me say this. The biggest mistake that President Barack Hussein Obama made was coming in saying the exact same thing. I remember vividly in 2004 when he said,
yeah, both Senate, it was Republican Senate and House, right?
And you know what he did? He was adversarial to Speaker Nancy Pelosi at the time. She had an agenda. There was a Democratic agenda they had been working on for 2 or 3 years that he didn't want to push because he wanted to be America's president. And he didn't want to be the Democrat president. He didn't want to be the black president. He wanted to be the American president. And he played into the hands of Mitch McConnell, and he played in the hands of, what's the homeboy's name? Was it Paul?
Ryan.
Paul Ryan. They used him to get him separated from the Democratic majority, block and pretend to work across the aisle, only to block so many things later on, and it was a stalemate. By the time that President Obama realized the game that had been played, he was up for re-election, which he barely won, but he won, and we had lost control. And we didn't regain control of the House until 2016. So it's important that President Biden not make those same mistakes. Go in early with your agenda. President Biden has already said he wants to make immigration reform a job for day one. Make it for day one. Let's bring back those black and brown voters to the Democratic Party. Let's go ahead and put into place the economic reforms that you said you were going to put in place for the black community. Let's do those things now. Let's make loan forgiveness an immediate response right away. The first 100 days, you hit student loan reform. First 100 days, immigration reform. First 100 days, a plan for economic empowerment of the black community. And let's move forward from there so that we can then get this Senate flipped and maintain control of the House. Zach, what are you seeing over there?
Breaking news, Georgia's down to 1,900 difference. So
Come on, Georgia, please, Lord. Oh, Lord, be a ballot.
It's coming. It's coming. And so I'm gonna now talk about. We're going to talk about Annette wants reparations now. We're going to talk about this electoral college and just really explain. Thank you, everybody. This is big news. We are getting there. So this is the current Senate projection.
You better praise him over there.
I am praising him on the inside. Hallelujah. I am praising him on the inside. So I am going to just share, hey, Jill, and, shouting it out. We're slowly getting there. Georgia is slowly getting there. I think that we're going to flip. We're getting there. That's right. God's will and plan is already done. This is where we are with the Senate. So we talked about the electoral map. This is the current Senate map. These are the races that were up. Many of the incumbents stayed in place. Democrats picked up 1 seat. Republicans picked up 1 seat. But we still have 3 seats that have not been called that very well could go for Democrats. Yep, and so correct. And Kelly is absolutely going to. Kelly's, I think, is a done deal. This is the graphic for the Electoral College, and let's talk about how that works. The Electoral College, everybody, was established with the 12th Amendment of the United States Constitution. And in the event, because it is possible that we could end up with the 269.
Oh yeah,
and that would be if Joe Biden wins Georgia only, and everything else goes to Trump. You will have 269. Before Election Day, it would have been that the Democrats would have had enough of a control to then select Biden as president. But because the Democrats lost ground in the House of Representatives, they still have a majority, but they don't have as many. It will be that the Republicans will then probably pick and vote for Trump. So if we go 269, Trump will very likely remain president. However, I do not think that will be the case, as we're seeing trends with Arizona looking blue, Nevada looking blue, and then Georgia coming more blue, as well as Pennsylvania. But look at this graphic, and what it tells you is that the Electoral College is made up of a total of 538 total electors. Our House of Representative members, our senators, and then 3 from the Commonwealth from the District of Columbia. And those electors meet in December to officially cast their votes, where the winner takes all. What that means is that all of the Electoral College votes will go to one candidate based on the state's popular vote. So when people say my vote doesn't count because of the Electoral College, you are being very ignorant. You're very misinformed. Your vote goes to the popular vote. The popular vote for your state determines how your Electoral College members will vote. Are they legally bound to vote that way? No. Do they break from that? They do not. They are going to go with the majority of their state. That is what is going to happen. That is what always happens. This was done by the 12th Amendment because of the election of 1803, when Aaron Burr and Thomas Jefferson had a tie, and they kept voting a total of 38 times to break the tie, and finally broke it with Thomas Jefferson being the winner. That is how it works. So I really, really want everyone in America to stop saying my vote doesn't count because of the Electoral College. You sound so dumb when you say that. And I'm saying that like as a joke, but I really mean it.
But
can you
agree with Nathaniel J. It's weird to me, the Electoral College, but I still don't understand. And you just broke it down. I must be stupid. So I need to glad.
Okay, wait.
As you explain that.
Help me.
Can you explain?
Question is like, what is unclear? Let's talk about what's unclear.
Well, Destin, not Destin.
Can you explain like the because I wasn't that clear on the whole, like I knew about the Electoral College, but the one that's in Maine and the one that's in
those were. I'll explain that. Okay, so let's go. Yeah. Let's start right here, right now. And Miss Mason, you add into the chat and you correct me where I'm wrong, because I know that you know more about this than I do because you're an expert. This is coming just from my simple understanding as from high school and how it works. So this is how you go. The United States House of Representatives is based upon the population of every state. That's why California has 55 electoral votes, and Georgia has 16, and Pennsylvania has 20, because they have more people. Those are determined every 10 years in our census. So if you didn't fill out your census, you have screwed over your state. Some states will gain representatives and more power in the House of Representatives, and some states will lose. Then you have the Senate. Every single state in the Senate has 2 senators, period. All of your representatives and all of your senators make up the Electoral College. Unfortunately, DC does not have any representatives, although they should. They only get 1 electoral vote. They get no Senate vote, but they get 3 electors to this process. And that gives you the total of 538 members of the Electoral College. In Georgia, as you're seeing this countdown begin, and we're saying that Trump is only up by, less than 2,000 votes. Whoever gets the majority of the votes in Georgia, who wins the Georgia popular vote, even by 1 vote, will get all 16 of Georgia's pledged electors. So those 16 votes in Georgia, that will include your 14 representatives and 2 senators, will have to vote for Joe Biden, or they have to vote for Donald Trump. That's why it's 270 votes required to win. Tracy.
So why in 2016, why was it such a focus on Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but she lost the way you just explained it was if you win the popular vote in the state, you get the electoral.
So Renee, I'm going to talk about this next. So hold on to your questions about Maine and Nebraska, and I'm going to tell you how they do that and how they're allowed to do it and why they're allowed to do it. So this is what happened, Tracy. The reality is this. In the course of American history, there have only been 5 times when a president has won what was known as the popular vote, but not the Electoral College vote, okay? Let me explain. Look at how many people there are in New York and how many people there are in California. You have way more people in New York and California than you have in the entire Midwest. Do you get what I'm saying? And so they have 55 votes in California. They have 3 votes in Wyoming. So when they say the popular vote, more people in the United States of America truly did vote for Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump.
More people in that state.
That's correct. And that state overwhelmingly voted for that candidate. So that would be like saying Fulton County matters more as a county than Randolph or Clay County because we have more people. In DeKalb County, Joe Biden has won by 82%. But in Savannah, Chatham County, he's only up by like 60%. That's why it's such a discrepancy. That's why the popular vote is skewed. That's why right now, Joe Biden is still going to have the popular vote. But here's the thing that I want people to, and I'm going to come out tonight 100% and tell you, I do not want the Electoral College abolished. And I know that's controversial for a lot of Democrats and a lot of liberals and a lot of progressives. But I am an American democracy man. I love our Constitution. The majority of democracies in this world use our document created by our founding fathers and the slave owners that they were, many of them. And they copied it and they made it work, and it's still working based upon the ancient Greek model. It is a beautiful document that is living, that is adjustable, that can be changed. I don't believe that we should alter the representation that our founders put in place because it has worked so beautifully. There have only been 5 times in American history when the president didn't win the popular vote in the Electoral College. Only 5. We have now had 45 presidents, and only Hayes, Cleveland, Bush, Trump, and somebody else, it may have only been those 4 actually, that have actually not won both. And you had Cleveland and Hayes back to back in the same 10-year span, like you've had Bush and Trump in the same 10-year span. America is getting ready to sort itself out, and we're going to go back, and you're not going to have it again. And here's the thing. If President Barack Hussein Obama could win the popular vote twice and the electoral college twice, so too could Hillary, so too could Joe Biden. It's just the way America works. Let's keep it fair. Let's keep it right. Let's keep it America.
But I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair because a lot of the states, especially the red states, have more population of Republican. Like it's not even, like we don't have close to even representation. So for me, that just doesn't make
that's
sense.
why most people want it like you do in high school. Like the popular vote wins. The student government.
I want that to be my president for the school.
Right.
He gave them hot dogs every day during his election campaign week.
And here's the thing. Calvin makes a good point, though. Look at this. This is what would have happened in the beginning of our nation if you wouldn't have had this system. You would have had the four most populous states make up what happens for the rest of the country. It's not appropriate for America's, for California and New York and their needs to dominate the American democracy. Just because that's where the majority of people live. America's a whole nation. Every state has its own needs and every state matters. And guess what, Tracy? This is how it works. If Democrats are angry about the Republicans in Wyoming, then maybe we ought to go out there and make more Democrats in Wyoming. Here's something else that was said that I really think people need in Georgia. Here is the next step for the Georgia Democratic Party. We made a lot of progress, but we have a lot more progress to make. We can't just focus on Metro Atlanta as the heartbeat and as a savior of the Georgia Democratic Party. In the state of Georgia, we have to go out to Savannah, Augusta, Columbus, and everywhere in between and make more members of this state understand what the Democratic Party stands for and why we can help you move forward as a state. We got to.
Well, what does the Democratic Party stand for at this juncture? Because right now, I feel like the Democratic Party is weak in terms of explaining their policies, getting those policies designed and developed. Like, I really don't know what it is that they're doing. So maybe I'm ill-informed, but I don't see them being aggressive. I don't see them really hitting the communities hard until right around. Take for example, the presidential campaign, when Joe Biden came to Atlanta, I just didn't feel like he was in the heart of the city. I guess because it was the pandemic, I guess. I don't know. I just don't see candidates being active. Even the people that's running for the Senate or councilmen and stuff like that, I just don't see them in the communities. So how do I know what their agenda is other than looking at a 48-page Lift Every Voice plan?
There has to be more work done. So you have to, now this time people couldn't be very active and be healthy.
Yeah.
I didn't want Joe Biden coming to Atlanta.
I forgot about COVID.
Yeah, don't come knocking on my door and bring COVID into my home. Okay.
I've been drinking since the election day.
That's okay. You can. But I do think you make a really good point. Our candidates have to do the job and do the work of getting out here and telling the message. And I'm very critical of the Democratic Party. I actually got into a Facebook fight, Vince, on Colby's page today. Colby quickly deleted the comment.
Okay.
He took it down quick, and I was like, "Why did you take it down?" Because it was one of his friends, and she was angry at me for saying that critiquing the Georgia Democratic Party, and she was basically saying, "Who are you to have any opinion on the Georgia Democratic Party?" Because what she was trying to say was, "I haven't done any work for the Georgia Party, so you don't have an opinion." That to me is also a part of the problem. You don't know me. You don't know my work. You don't know how much money I've donated to the party. You don't know what I believe, and you don't know how I've given my intellectual capital to the party. You know what this right here is my intellectual contribution to the Georgia Democratic Party right here on this live. I give my intellectual contribution every time I could give you any kind of support for any Democrat. So I'm doing my part. And so I was like really heated about it, but I understood what she was saying. But that to me is also part of the problem. No party has the right to say you have to do X, Y, and Z to be a member or to be concerned or to be civically engaged. And so Tracy, you're right. The Georgia Democratic Party is very cliquish. They have a lot of work to do to break those cliques down. We have to get out here and we have to find a way to get this party and make it back the party of people. Because right now there is a group of Black intellectuals and Black people with middle class money who run this party in Georgia, and they gotta go. And they gotta go. And that's also was a part of what issue I had with Stacey Abrams. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's part of the issue I have with the I don't like the notion of you have to be the Georgia Black Democrat heir apparent to have something to do with this party. This needs to be the party.
But do you think these parties further divides us as a nation?
Do I think what process?
These parties, Democrat, Republican, like, because I can understand how some people might have some Democratic views, but yet still be Republican. Because I think right now people are voting for their views.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
I don't think 69 million people who voted for Trump necessarily are racist or misogynistic or bigots.
They are.
I think they're voting for their views. They're voting for their views of like.
You are complicit when you support. No,
I don't want us all to think alike, and I guess that's the DNI.
Okay.
So like.
All think alike, but you are still a part of the contribution of those things. Because for me, for example,
you chose party over your conscience and over your heart. That's what I see it as.
They're enablers.
Yeah.
They enabled it.
I could not for the life of me vote for a man who lacks compassion, who is mean, who's mean-spirited. I read 1 Corinthians 13:1, and I went all the way to the end of the chapter, but really 4 through 8. And I read those things. Those are not just about relationships. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not boast. That is about people, period. And right. I looked at all those things that love was, and he doesn't match one of those things. I wouldn't be friends with this person, so why would I vote for him? Even if I was in his party, I would have to go to the other side because he just does not represent.
Correct. Their money. And so people vote for their money. I agree. That's one of the reasons why they voted.
I don't think it's. I think that's I think that's the main reason why he's kept his base. Well, actually, this is how I feel about his base, and then I want to go back to the Democratic Party conversation. I feel like that half of people that voted for Trump are just loyalists to the Republican Party. They don't know any better. Tradition, family. My mama did it. My grandma did it. My great grandma did it. So on and so forth. And I also feel like the other half of that, there was a demographic of, I guess we could say, Red America that were swept under the rug for many decades on decades on decades.
The forgotten people.
And so Trump compelled those people, and he found that fire, and that is that radical side that's really coming out for him or what have you. So I feel like because those forgotten persons have been forgotten for so long, that is just payback. They just giving payback for the lack of conversation, lack of correspondence that prior politicians should have been, trying to conjure with these people prior to 2016, and now we're here in 2020. Going back to the Democratic conversation, I feel that it's a blessing and a curse, because I remember during the presidential, I'm sorry, the what is it, Zach? When all the candidates were up there,
debate?
Whatever. Yeah, not the debate, but
the primaries.
Yeah, the primaries. There it is. During the primaries, the Democratic Party were constantly being attacked from the right because there were so many sides. Bernie and Kamala and Kristen and Pete, and everybody was a different type of Democrat. But then when the Democrats went to discuss on the matter, it was, well, I think that's a great thing because that's America. There's many different shades and colors and facets of the Democratic Party, if you will. They have a very a larger tent than the Republican Party. So though I do commend that, because, you know, like I said on Five Guys, I'm 30-year-old black man in Atlanta. My views and how I live is completely different from the 30-year-old black man in Arizona, you know, or the 30-year-old black man in Louisiana, the 30-year-old black man in New York. You know, it's so many different views and facets. But I do feel like for the sake of unity and getting on the same, you know, once we sort of narrow it down, I think the Democratic Party can do a lot better, so we can go to the strategy, right? And we can have a plan, and we can be committed, and we can know where we vote. That's what we talked about on the phone with Zach when I went to vote, because I voted on election day. And, you know, you get to Ossoff and Perdue, you vote for that, but then when you get to the Warnock page, it's like 9 other Democrats.
What the
if you are educated enough to see that Warnock is one of the leading people you should vote for, you probably just going, D, and you're going to click that and keep it pushing. So that lack of, again, communication, correspondence, and educating and strategy, unity from the Democratic Party definitely needs to happen.
We need to stop allowing all those goddamn candidates. It is like, it was insane to watch the primaries, because it looked like a lot of infighting. Oh, those Democrats, they don't have it together. They're not on the same page there. And to me, that's what makes us look so bad. And I know we are not a monolith and all that crap, but God dog, it was 12 and 13 of them, y'all. And then you look at the Republicans, it's only 5. And once you narrow the numbers down, you won't seem so disjointed as a party. We seem like we don't have our shit together. Excuse me, all the people that don't cuss. But you know what I'm saying? No,
I agree. But Tracy, here's the thing. That actually benefited Joe Biden. And let me explain how, right. Yeah, Zach, you can also chime in. This benefited Joe Biden because every Democrat.
Because every time he tries to, you talk over him.
Go ahead, Zach. You had, it's like the 12 tribes of Israel. They were 12 different tribes with 12 different beliefs, but they all served the same God. And you have people that were going to line up with Bernie, and you have people that's going to line up with Pete, and people that's going to line up with Kamala, and people that's going to line up with Andrew Yang. But at the end of the day, they all came together, even though it was a tough process, to vote. And now, guess what? Those people are going to push Biden and Harris to do what's right by their constituents and their people.
But that's damaging, because here's the thing. If I'm a Kamala Harris supporter, and all the negative things she said about Joe Biden during all the primaries, because she got him right on together. But all
was it negative or the truth?
It was true, but we'll talk about that crime. I really want to focus. I want to talk about that. But it also created a negative seed in a lot of people's minds about Biden. So now that he's the candidate, I don't like him. I still don't like him. I'm not going to vote for him. Having all those different voices bring the truth out. It created so many negative seeds about. So now, if I support Buttigieg and he says something negative about the Biden, I'm still not gonna. Y'all. Just, I'm telling you, we need to stop.
But I don't think it's no different than you probably saying something different about saying something negative about your cousin or something, but yeah, you still got a back. So that's what it came into. Like,
that's right.
He was like, I've still got your back, regardless of you saying. So I see who you are. I'm gonna put you on a ticket with me, and we're gonna roll it.
It's different. I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
My dad always says, I can talk about you, but if somebody else talk about you, then they're not loyal to me. They're not, the people that talk about me are not going to be loyal to me. Even though you support me, you've already planted a negative seed in your friend's mind about me. And so when I come around, hey, bitch, that is the kind, we got to be careful about that.
But
the Republicans do not do that. They don't.
They do that. They do that. They do that worse.
He agrees.
I have to definitely co-sign with what Tracy just said, and I think a prime example is the
politics, right?
Yeah, but I think a prime example of that is the Bernie. The Bernie Bros. You know, they even after Biden got the ticket and all, and he was on the campaign trail. It took Bernie Sanders were pulling his supporters by the skin of his teeth to get them because they were still bashing, they were still attacking other people, so on and so forth. So yeah, that planting those seeds could potentially be damaging. And I feel like if we had another person in the White House that did not act like Trump did, then we probably will be leaning to what Tracy is saying right now. I think because Trump was just so asinine, everybody's like, well, we need to get him out regardless. But if this was like a different kind of Republican, then I think Tracy's smart.
Let me tell you, that was a good example, but it was also not. Let me tell you why. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. He has never been a Democrat. He's an independent. So his beliefs don't align with the party. He represents a far left faction of the party, and so many of those Bernie Bros are not Democrats. So they would never support the Democratic platform and the fundamental beliefs of the Democratic Party. That's because they aren't Democrats. Many of them are socialists, which is fine, but they're not Democrats because Democrats and socialists are not the same thing. In addition to that, some of the people that supported some of those Bernie Bros really were just absolute anarchists. And so you have these far right murderers, you have far left murderers. You have people with extreme views on both sides. They just want to see the downfall of government in general, so they can seem like they're on a movie set and drive tanks.
All I'm saying is, I do know that the Republicans do that too, but it's something about them supporters. Their supporters do not hold on. We are some holding on to grudge type of people, and the Democrats are. We will hold on to a grudge, and we've got to figure out how to fix that. I don't know. I don't know how we can do it, but we got to figure out how to fix that because there are a lot of people who are still holding on to that 94 crime bill, baby. They are still holding on to that. And the man sat up there and said that, it was wrong. We did not do X, Y, and Z. He wants to come back in and fix it. And, I guess we've been burned so much that we don't want to believe that. But I mean, the 94 crime bill was in direct response to the Black community wanting policing.
Exactly. I was just going to say that they met at the wrong person.
Yeah, and not just that though. You're expecting a majority white Senate to come up with a plan for your own community, and we didn't have proper representation. We didn't have enough representation at the table to change the bill. So while we mad at Joe Biden, I just don't understand the logic of getting someone who doesn't really know and understand what our community needs. He thought, oh, I'm doing what they asked. They wanted more policing. I'm gonna give it to them. What happened? Unintended consequences. Yes, exactly. And he said, y'all, we'll be on here all night. That bothers me that we don't educate ourselves about how the 94 crime bill came about. It was amended from 1968.
And that's our job. That's our work. We have to do that. This is something I firmly believe it. I'm not going to talk to Hispanic men about voting for Donald Trump because I'm not a Hispanic man. I'm not going to go out here and talk to white women who voted for Donald Trump because I'm not a white woman. I'm a Black man, and I'm going to talk and have hard conversations with other Black men who support Donald Trump and talk about why they support Donald Trump. I'm also going to hold accountable the people in our community that have platforms that take people off into directions that I know will be contrary to American democracy and counterproductive to the community. That's why I am not able to support Nick Cannon, Charlamagne the Gadfly, Ice Cube, T.I., Kanye West. Who else? Lil Wayne. I'm not going to be able to do that. And I'm not going to back down from that. I'm not going to forgive and forget it. I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to be able to support Puff Daddy anymore. Happy birthday, Sean Combs, Diddy. His birthday was yesterday. You know, I know all the Scorpios. You know, we like and I hate to turn my back on fellow Scorpio, but I got to turn my back on you, Puff Daddy, because you cooling and losing. Vernon Jones, another Scorpio. You swag surfing with COVID. I am not able to, so I think that's our work. We have to go hard and be very cautious about who we give an audience to, who we retweet, who we repost, and really make sure that we are aligning ourselves to the right people who are doing the right type of fundamental work in the community. We all have a right to an opinion, but we need to make sure that our opinions are well informed and that we have considered the consequences of what they will be.
So we are talking about that. Let me bring up some things. About these celebrities. Y'all, I have been having real heated conversations about, how I felt about the Breakfast Club and Charlamagne the God, and how I would talk about how informed I was by watching the show. Now I don't F with them. I unfollowed them because I had to come to Jesus. Charlamagne the God sat up there on his platform and told us to walk away from the Democratic Party. He told us to withhold our vote, and they not once had anybody that has some sense up there to help them devise a plan on how we can approach this. You know what I'm saying? You can't just tell a large group of people walk away from something without having an alternative. What else are we going to do? Who else got a dual citizenship up in here? Anybody else belong to another country?
I'm working on it.
Me too.
I'm working on France and Canada. I'm looking at Toronto. If Trump wins, I'm looking at Toronto, and then I'm looking at Paris. So I'm working on both. You make a good point. Rhonda, I'm going to go to Rhonda's point in a moment because I actually have some statistics to share about Kanye West. That's an important thing to share. Yeah. And you're right, Vince, we're going to let you take that. You'll be able to introduce it then I'll pull up the statistics.
Has he conceded yet?
Huh?
Has he conceded yet?
Yeah, he conceded yesterday.
Okay.
And so what I wanted to add to that was, Tracy, is that, I want everybody to also be very weary of Fox Soul. Have you guys seen Fox Soul pop up?
Yeah.
They're doing a great job of shooting out clips. It is owned by the same Fox network that has the Fox TV station and the Fox News. They are giving and selecting Black entertainers and Black personalities like Claudia Jordan to be on their platform. They have some great programming that's very appealing. But you watch that, I'm telling you, they have an ulterior motive and they have a plan in place. So just be considerate of what you share and what you get from Fox Soul. It's the exact same Fox. They can put soul on the back of it. They can make it purple and black and brown and blue. But it's the exact same thing. Vince, tell us about Kanye West while I pull up these statistics.
I don't know much about him. I just know he conceded yesterday. I was shocked that I was shocked. I was shocked that people actually voted. One of those states, was it Florida or somebody? He got like 5,000 votes, and so I agree with what one of the viewers said. It was a waste. It was a waste, and I feel like people that that voted for him just saw this as a mockery. Like, I just legit feel like they just saw this as just
these are the states that had Kanye on the ballot. Kanye received 3,100 votes in my home state, Zach's home state of Mississippi. Kanye West received 10,000 votes in Tennessee. So
these are mostly red states, it looks like. And
Kanye West hurt possibly. Well, the thing is, the votes wouldn't have made a huge impact. Right. But this is the danger in it, guys. This is the danger of it, is that You guys have some funny comments. I agree with you about Canada and France and Paris, but you know, when I get there, I'm going to change it. Okay, I'm going to be a crusader for civil rights and justice with the Parisians and in Toronto. Okay, but let me say this: Kanye West knew that he wasn't going to win. The purpose of Kanye West running was to shave off parts of the black vote, small portions. Republicans knew that they weren't going to have a large victory in doing that now, but guess what? This wasn't about 2020. It's about 2024. That's why Diddy and Charlamagne are going to do their black party in 2024, not now. They're building up. We'll start off getting a 5% of the black vote, then we'll get 10% of the black vote, then we'll get 18% of the black vote. Before you know, we're going to have 40% of the black vote. This is a long game, and they're using the cult of celebrity to play the game and possibly win the game. We now must change the game. The black community can no longer look at celebrity as the role model for our children. We don't want our children to be like Beyonce. We want our children to be like Kamala Harris. We don't want our children to be like Lil Wayne. We want our children to be like Barack Hussein Obama. We must change the narrative and the role models we put in front of our kids, and what we value must change. We must stop valuing some material things and start valuing some intellectual and spiritual things. Tracy?
That's why I also unfollowed the Shade Room. I unfollowed the Savoy TV show, I unfollowed Diddy. I unfollowed all of them because it wasn't until this election that I realized the information that we are disseminating amongst our people, we are not properly educating. We're putting the wrong things, making the wrong things priorities. Material things, money, sex, all of those things are being pumped into our younger generation. And I was just like, think about this. Who is our next generation of leaders? They have not revealed themselves, in my opinion. I am nervous because even now we don't have a real identifiable leader. We have people who come up like Sean King and Tamika Mallory and Mark Lamont Hill, but we don't have Mark. We don't
Miss Mark.
When? Oh, I'm sorry.
Not Miss Mark.
Mark
said
a
long time ago.
Mark said this was the first time he voted, but you a political analyst.
No, he said this is the first time he voted Democrat. Like he's been a Republican. Obama. Yeah, he's been a Republican for ages. She on mute. You on mute, Tracy.
We can't tell people who to vote for.
No, Tracy, you're right. No, I'm not saying
my uncle's a Republican, but he voted.
Let me explain.
And
you can vote Republican. It's not about the fact that Mark Lamont Hill voted Republican or he voted Green Party, and that's fine. The thing is, don't sit up here and build your whole career, your whole brand on politics and being a commentator and being down for the people, and you didn't even vote for Barack Obama, and you don't even support the democratic ideas you claim to talk about. If you're going to talk about it, you need to be about it. You be about it with your vote.
I didn't know this, guys. I'm so sorry.
No.
You are fired.
Yeah, he's fired. But let me say this, and I want to give a brief clarity. I'm going to go to the Joe Jorgensen that I think Kale talked about in Georgia. I want everybody on this call to think about this call. I want everybody on this live cast to think back to elementary school. I will never forget being in first grade, and it was Black History Month. We just learned about MLK in January. And I already knew about Black history from my great-grandmother and my grandmother. We talked about these things when I was a kid. We talked about people. We talked about Madam C.J. Walker, the first Black millionaire. I knew stuff. So in first grade, we just learned about Martin Luther King in January from MLK Day. Then in February, they decorate the bulletin boards, and you had Black artists and celebrities and Jackie Robinson and O.J. Simpson, and Jackie Jordan Kersey all around the room for Black History Month. Those were the people, Louis Armstrong, that they were putting in front of the children as the Black history celebrities. And when you really look at what they achieved, was that really the Black history that I should have been learning in first grade, when I'm so impressionable and you're cementing in my mind what is valuable? That happened to a whole lot of Black children and a lot of white children about these are the Black people that made a difference. I didn't learn about Stokely Carmichael. I didn't learn about Huey P. Newton. I didn't learn about Hiram Revels. I'm from Mississippi. And the first Black senator ever elected after the Civil War was from Mississippi. I didn't learn about Hiram Revels until I got into 7th grade and read my 7th grade history book on my own. My teacher
took Mississippi Studies then.
My teacher in 7th grade didn't even bring him up. I had to learn it on my own and then bring it up in class. Because the teacher, I really love that man, but he was a staunch racist. A staunch racist who did a lot of damage to a lot of kids with his racist ideology. All of that is a real example of the type of things that happen to Black children all across America that makes us today follow and believe in the cult of celebrity. That's why we hold these athletes up to the standard of excellence, but we don't take the time to understand and research Tamika Mallory.
And with that said, just like I said on Monday Night Show, I have to commend the Biden and Harris campaign, because I feel like in prior Democratic campaigns come around election season, we always get the argument, they using celebrities, they're pandering the Black vote, athletics, da. I feel like they were very, very strategic in not emphasizing and promoting the celebrity endorsements. I feel like they were very good at showing that they were grassroots, that they were out in the community, that they were kissing babies and touching the people, and not saying, "Oh, we got Jennifer Lopez and A-Rod. Oh, we got Cardi B. Oh, we got the NBA players. Oh, we got the NFL players." It was very subtle, and I'm just very proud of them for doing that. So that argument could hopefully subside for the Democratic Party in future elections. But I do agree with what everybody is saying. We definitely have to think for ourselves, educate ourselves, and not put too much, if at all, investment and stake in what the celebrities do. I understand it from a marketing, standpoint. If I was a Democratic Party, and you got Cardi B that wants to endorse your president, you got Lady Gaga that wants to endorse your president, that's 50 million followers they got. That's an easy, post, blah, 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 awareness. But we have to define that balance between endorsements and influence. It's.
But I think I understand where you're coming from, Zach, and I hear you. But I don't want to limit our kids' thinking. Like, the only thing I want to be is a Kamala Harris, or the only thing I want to be is Stacey Abrams. No, like, if I have a talent and I see that talent in me, I want to be a Tracy. Like, I want to act and be in something. Like, I can look up to her. Like, I want to be an open and be a journalist and be like, I don't think I should say I need to be. If I want to be an athlete like a Jackie Robinson, I should be breaking barriers doing that. Like, I don't think I should be limiting a child's belief and thinking you need to be a Kamala Harris or Stacey Abrams or those type of people who are.
Oh, I didn't say that. What I said was you got to give kids both. They only put celebrities in front of children. You got to put both.
I agree. And during the George Floyd protests, when Bravo did that whole campaign, Black Something, with Portia and Candy Autumn were talking, Candy made a very valid point to Andy Cohen. She was like, with white families, they have family and career politicians. White people train their kids and put their kids into civics, into politics. Black people, you straight to the NBA. You straight to the NFL. We're trying to get your record deal. You at 5 Point train station trying to get your album out. That is just how we are. You don't see a lot of Black families saying, "Oh, you do have the potential to be XYZ." Yes, you can. I agree with Zach. You can present with them both, but we can't act and negate the fact that being a Black politician or a minority politician is a priority for our communities.
But we have to also recognize the access that white families do have to those things. A lot of our youth don't have the access to a politician. They don't, because see, what happened was, I'm about to get real, we moved out of our own communities. It used to be our communities were the haves and have-nots. They commune together. The doctor, the lawyer, the teacher, the sanitation worker, all those people lived on the same street. Now we get a little education and we move on out to Alpharetta. We're going to go out to, and
we get a $1. Come on, Tracy.
Yeah, because they move on out to Buckhead, and they leave our community. So our children no longer have those influences, right?
You know that's right. They move out there.
They move.
I agree. That's real.
But let me tell you this right here. Every one of you, all three of you, know where I live. You know my community. You know my house. Yep, I love my house. It's a beautiful home. I love my home, but my home is in a community in DeKalb County, Georgia, that went 82% for Joe Biden. That is in the congressional 5th district, the most democratic Black district in the United States of America. That's where my home sits. And when I run for office, it will be in this house, in this district, in this county that I will run. So,
but praise the Lord. But what I'm saying is, with all of these gentrification things going on, we need to move back, figure out a way to gentrify our own communities and
buy back the block
ourselves back in those communities so our kids do have access to both. Right now, the thing that is most accessible to our children are athletes and musicians, or being an Instagram model or influencer. You know what I'm saying? So, if it weren't for my parents, because I lived in a neighborhood that didn't have I don't think there were any professional people except my parents. I didn't grow up around, everybody else was on the same plane.
Everybody lived together in the same community.
No, what I'm saying is everyone was maybe a bus driver or, my grandfather was a bus driver. The lady up the street was a nurse's assistant. Nobody there was a lawyer. They didn't have higher education degrees. So the only people my friends could come to were my mom and dad. We need more. We need more of that in our community so our children can see it's okay to be a bus driver and then it's okay to be a dentist.
I agree with that. Because again, I think Laquita said that anybody can be a role model and anybody should be a role model. It shouldn't be determined by your station in life, position in life, or job in life. It should be about who you are as a person and the impact that you have on the kid. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think that's the whole point. And so, we talked about Jo Jorgensen. It was brought up in the comments.
She brought me, I can't stand. I kept saying, who is this lady?
She received 60,000 votes so far in Georgia. 60,000 votes, Jo Jorgensen. And so I know you guys are wondering, who is she? Does anybody want to tell me who she is? I have a platform here.
I just know she's the Libertarian Party candidate.
I don't think she was on our ballot in Virginia.
She didn't even make the ballot.
I don't think she made it.
She is a libertarian. I'm going to enlarge this for you.
Please do. Enlarge our territory.
You guys see that?
Kind of.
These are kind of some of the beliefs that libertarians have, is they really advocate for personal freedom. They don't want to have American involved in other countries, a non-interventionist policy. They really emphasize civil liberties and the separation of church and state. They do support a less strict immigration policy. Those are ways that they agree somewhat with the liberals, the left. Then look at the right. They agree with economic freedom. They want strong national defense. They also want respect for personal property. They very firmly believe in the individual rights to bear arms. They agree with giving generously to those in need, and they also support lower taxes. So that's how they support the Republican platform. In the middle is their own unique platform. It's where they believe that government should have the role of just simply defending the rights of people, but individuals should be able to pursue their own freedoms with very little government involvement. They also don't believe that America should be involved in other nations and other foreign policies and other foreign arguments. They also want to legalize marijuana and end the whole concept of the war on drugs because they feel like it did not work. They also want to support small business entrepreneurship and again, legal path citizenship. It is my belief that Jo Jorgensen took away votes that would have gone to Biden because to me, the Libertarian Party many times aligns more closely to the Democratic Party than the Republican Party, but it also varies by states. So that is libertarianism in a nutshell. And so Candy said that Jo Jorgensen reminds her of Carol Baskin. And so thank you, Rashad. Absolutely, everybody. It should be starting at home. It should be parents, should be family members. It absolutely should be. But I will have to say that in my life, being a role model for my nieces and nephews is like impossible because they see me as like an older brother, not even an uncle. I can't even be an uncle. I'm not even on the status of an uncle. I'm like Zach, the older brother, which I don't even understand when I'm the oldest of all. Like I'm older than mama and a daddy. I may not look it, but I am. And so I agree with you, Tatiana. They definitely took away the most of the votes from Trump. I think in many states it hurt Trump. Libertarians did hurt Trump. That is also being, I think, revealed. But it also depends on the state. So, guys, we are rolling in with the results. The results have been coming in. We are approaching the end of our live cast. What do you guys think is going to be the outcomes? What are you guys feeling in your heart of hearts about what we will wake up to tomorrow?
I'm scared.
I think I was scared on Tuesday after, because it gave me like fear back to 2016 when I woke up the next day and it was like Trump is president. But I think I'm less nervous about now, having been watching it like constantly on repeat, and seeing where the votes are and seeing how close it is. I think we're going to pull out. Like Biden will be our next president and Kamala will be our vice president.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Look, Clay Cole, that's why I voted Clay Cole all day. Down there in Hampton, Georgia. But I'm excited. I'm really hoping that Georgia pulls through and it's solidified. And I also hope that Pennsylvania pulls through and they're solidified. I have lost hope with Nevada. They have been taking forever and a day. I don't understand why it's been taking them so long. I was talking to my mama earlier this evening. I was like, well, I only been on the earth for like 4 presidents, but whenever I recall back to past elections, when I look at that TV, soon as Cali and the rest of them light up, Nevada been right along with them. So I don't know why this go round is taking this.
They mailed out ballots to everybody.
Let me tell you what the difference is, right? Okay, so Nevada was hit very hard by the economic restrictions of COVID-19. Donald Trump and the Republican Party made a very smart strategic move to target Nevada as a flip state. They recognized early in the pandemic that Wisconsin and Michigan were at risk of going blue, as they did go blue, and they knew they had to do some flipping of their own to maintain control of the Electoral College. They chose 2 states. Well, they chose 3 states. They chose New Hampshire, where they failed. They chose Minnesota, where they failed, and they chose Nevada. Donald Trump stopped spending money in Wisconsin and Michigan in about July and August and redirected those funds to Nevada. So they spent a lot of money in Nevada. Joe Biden and the Democratic Party was not spending a lot of money in Nevada because there were no reasons to do so, because there were no major other races that would benefit from the Joe Biden push, the Joe Biden surge. And they also maybe took for granted that they had it, or they may have took for granted and assumed that they didn't need those 6 electoral votes. That is why Nevada is not going blue solidly at the moment, because it's where you put money. And it goes to show that where you put money in a campaign and where you put emphasis in a campaign will give an outcome or result. I still believe Nevada is going to go blue. And I think that Dr. Washington said it, but we got so many comments and I've missed it. I think that Nevada's going to go blue. I think Arizona's going to stay blue. I think Georgia might go blue. And I think that we're going to be, they're going to be fine. And they are physical education. That is true. They weren't always, though. Mississippi came on a come up, Zach. We snuck on past them. We snuck past them. I do believe that it will be. I do believe that it's going to be the outcome. So we're constantly checking, but I do believe that it's going to come through based upon where the outstanding votes are. That also matters. Mm-hmm. And you're right. There are a lot of people that move to Nevada as well. Currently in Pennsylvania, there are a lot of outstanding votes in areas that are heavy Democrat. What I'm worried about in Georgia, let me be honest, I hate to say it, but I'm afraid that many of the heavy Democratic ballots have been counted. And what's outstanding are ballots from smaller, more rural, more Republican areas. Now, it could be that those were Democrats in those areas that voted. But when you see things like Taylor County has outstanding ballots, when you see Forsyth County has outstanding ballots, those counties are heavy Republican counties. They're not Democratic counties. Very few people there vote Democrat. So I'm concerned about Georgia.
They're saying now Clayton County, I think, has like 4,000 ballots still to count.
And that's heavy Democrat.
It's blue. It's 84.9% Democratic. And
but where are the other ballots that's my word. You see what I'm saying? Those other ballots are somewhere all around the state. When they come in, are they going to come in for Biden, or are they going to all surge in for Trump, heavy Trump?
But if you're seeing that the trend is most of the mail-in ballots and what they're counting has been highly Democratic, then that's what I think they're going to go towards Biden, even in those red areas, because that's what Biden recommended: mail in, vote early. And so those are the things that they're counting now. Whereas Trump said, go the day of. And so that's why he's all surprised and shit.
And you know, his followers followed him, honey. He is like Hitler, honey.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I am very hopeful, but I'm just looking at, like, I just pulled the list up. The outstanding ballots were Floyd, Forsyth, Harris, Lawrence, Taylor.
Maybe it's a couple of black people there.
Or a couple of Democrats.
Well, you good white people voted too. You remember?
But not trying to, decent white people, exactly. But not trying to dig into it. I think you also have to look at the location of those counties that you just listed, because we clearly see heading towards the Albany area, the Brunswick area. There's a lot of counties I don't know the name of, but it's hella blue. So that could also work in favor. So maybe we just, again, have to list those counties and see where they land if they're in the midst or enveloped in the other Democratic areas.
Zach, I know we didn't talk about this, but what about all of the legalization of like marijuana, and then Oregon, that stuff, and then Mississippi with the medical marijuana? Like, what are your?
I don't know marijuana, so I don't know about that. But as someone who maybe engages in that marijuana usage, you can tell me about it.
You don't have to smoke it to talk about it.
I don't know. Tell me about it.
No, I know New Jersey, a couple other states kind of legalized marijuana, but then Mississippi kind of legalized medical marijuana, as well as changed the flag.
Yes.
Of course. But then Oregon, they legalized small doses of like heroin, cocaine, things of that nature, and not make it a felony or whatever.
We're running out now.
Yeah.
Wait,
so it's
wait, who is like, give me that small dose of heroin? What? Excuse me, I ain't trying to talk about.
So that's interesting. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay. Well, I know its time is wrapping up. However, we cannot forget the POC vote. We've got to talk about the people of color, because I'm Black. Everybody else is the POCs. And I'm gonna tell you, that is the one and only thing I agreed with Ice Cube on, is that, you know, this is strictly for the Black community. We need to talk about the POC vote.
What about it?
What did you think about the POC vote?
Oh, I think that, you know, when you talk about the vote, I mean, I don't understand. I feel like people voted for the majority of people. I feel in America made the right choice. You have 4 million people who voted for Joe Biden.
Okay, so
4 million more people voted for Joe Biden than voted for Donald Trump.
There's a large majority of Latino communities that
it's not a majority. It's a growing minority.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry,
They're about to be more. Well, yeah, they're more than blacks.
Yeah. So I don't understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is they are voting between 30 and 40%.
I have the data. Let me pull it up. Keep talking, Tracy. I'm gonna pull it up.
Well, hold on, really quickly. I just posted on my Insta story this woman, she's a Latina. She gave a very good breakdown of why Florida Latinos decided to vote for Trump. Dealing with communism, socialism, dealing with there's actually a high percentile of wealthy Latinos that reside in Florida that tend to vote Republican traditionally, and then just fear of them, fear of America going back to communism and socialism, because those are the countries that they flee from, i.e., Venezuela and Cuba. However, on the other end of that token, you had 75% of the Latino vote went to Biden in Arizona. So I think it's like we always say, monolithic. No, you know, we're all not monolithic, but at the same time, I do feel like that Latino vote needs to be investigated and needs to have just as much spotlight as the Black vote conversation is, because for them to be essential and pivotal and cause all these twists and turns in the race, I feel like they've been flying underneath the radar and people really haven't put a big
lot
spot.
of Latinos don't identify as like a person of color, so there are some underlining things with that. When you have the ability sometimes to assimilate, you would assimilate to the majority culture, and so you don't see
even if you get treated like you,
even if you get treated like.
That's interesting, Candace Owens. That's real.
I'm really curious. Like, I would love to have conversations with this demographic, because not saying they've never mattered, but they've really shown, you know, this go round that their votes matter and that they're essential. So I'm very curious to see the Latino voter.
Guys, you can't. This is something that we can't. This is okay. We're Black. Because we are Black, we're looking at Black vantage point. It's exactly what white people do when they talk about Black people. They look at it from they're white, and their whiteness informs how they see the world.
No,
let me finish.
I don't agree with that. I'm gonna tell you why.
I haven't made my point, Tracy.
I know, but I'm gonna let you finish. Listen, this is the reason I don't agree with that, is because whenever there is a struggle, the Black struggle, we don't see POCs at our side or vocalizing anything. We don't see them coming to the rescue. But when it's time to collect the benefits of our struggle, they right there. So I have a real issue, I guess, because I'm looking at it from theater, and, you know, we just had this big thing in theater, this BIPOC, we see you, you're not casting people of color in your institutions, and everybody, all the Black people were speaking up, and all the POCs were really quiet. They didn't say anything, but then they want us to cast them in our theaters.
I agree. But this is the point, Tracy. we can't look at it from the perspective of, see, you look at it like you're black and I'm black and we're part of a community. We are taught that as black in the United States that we are a part of a black community. But when you are a member of the Hispanic, if you are ethnically Hispanic or Latino, which isn't even a race, you're not taught that. You're taught I'm Venezuelan. No. And I'm from Venezuela. And I am not, just because you consider me to be Hispanic, like I relate to someone from Mexico, I have nothing to do with a Mexican because I'm Venezuelan and you're Mexican, I'm Venezuelan. That's my whole country. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So just because they live in America and they have a similar skin complexion does not make them the same. So as Nikita said, Hispanic, a Latino in Florida, Cuban. A Latino in Arizona, maybe Mexican. They're different. So when you look at the breakdown, Latinos in Arizona voted for Biden, Latinos in Florida voted for Trump. They're not the same. They're not the same. And so we can't look at them as though they are like us or that their community will be like us. We have to respect the differences of that community and see them as they are in the same way we want them to respect us and our community for the differences that we are.
Now, the only thing that I was very curious about with the Latino vote is for them to be anti-communism, anti-socialist, but yet Trump is in the bed with Putin in North Korea, and these are like the leading communist leaders of our time right now. That's the disconnect that I have with that. You scared of it, but no Democratic person has aligned themselves with those values, let alone met, let alone been in bed, let alone been in cahoots, let alone have rumors surfaced around them. But yet you voted for the person that there's documentation and photos of them together. There's proof that they've been together. That's my disconnect with the Florida, Latino, if you will. That's so weird to me.
But Donald Trump's disinformation machine misled many of them. And they thought that Joe Biden was more socialist than he was. It was a whole misinformation campaign that was also perpetuated by people like Marco Rubio from that community. Marco Rubio is a Cuban American, and he supported Trump, and he also pushed that disinformation. DeAndre has brought up some excellent points about young Democratic voters that will be discussed coming up on in the future because we don't have time, but that's a good point. The Democratic Party needs to address young voters. What will they do? Or even what should they do? That's kind of be some things that we'll talk about the next time we convene. And again, you're absolutely right, Alon. I do believe you asked me earlier about Mississippi. I think that Mississippi is going to change, but it's going to be like other change in Mississippi. Mississippi always changes 10 years behind the rest of America, and it will continue to be 10 years behind the rest of America until they embrace a very progressive leadership style that isn't there right now. And again, you're right. Fox News has been the biggest leader of misinformation in America, period. And you're right. And all of these things are very good, very factual. Thank you all for joining Tracy and I on the 3+1 live cast. What a great way to gear up for the end of the week. Do you guys have anything great planned for the weekend? Anybody do anything great? Tracy, you'll just be practicing running lines.
Yeah, running lines, and I'm also doing a workshop. I'm teaching a workshop called Master the Art of Self-Tape for some actors in Chicago. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Big fun.
Big fun.
Yeah, nothing. Working on an RFP for big contract. So that's
you're working on an RFP for you're writing for the RFP to get the contract? Oh, that's good. Congratulations. Yes. I'm going to pray for you and wish you nothing but the best. You can use some of the money you get to buy me a great birthday gift.
Oh, happy belated birthday, Zach.
Thank you.
Yes. Way to get over that hill. 50. Looks
I have a long weekend and I'm excited to do that.
I fight for that.
That's right. Anything going on? What's your weekend gonna be?
I actually have a light weekend. This is like a first for me. Right, exactly. That's a miracle. So I'm going to immerse myself in my bed and go to sleep. I'm excited about some sleep, so I'll be good.
Yes.
So I'm gonna watch your show. That's right, Scorpio Nation. I'm gonna watch your Purge. I've never seen the Purge. I've never seen any of the Purges. So I am going to watch The Purge.
Binge them all.
It's good.
But when you get to 3, you're gonna be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It is so relevant to today.
Joe Biden is also a Scorpio. He's either November the 20th or November 22nd. So Joe Biden and representing the Scorpio nation, there will be more presidents who are Scorpios than any other sign in American history if Joe Biden.
Oh God! What did you see, Zach? You had
it's just Pennsylvania is real close now with like 26,000 votes.
Yeah. They have tempers. That's true. So I think everybody's going to go on and really dig in. I am going to watch The Purge. I'm going to binge The Purge. And I also want to recommend this show to everyone. I don't have the Apple TV, even though, I think I have that app. I haven't activated. But I went ahead.
It's free.
I lost power for several days due to the storm. And so I only had my iPad and my phone. And so I went ahead and I put my $4.99. And let me tell you about the I am not 50. I am in the 40s. I'm 40. It's not 50 yet. That was a joke.
Fake news.
Fake news. But I watched this amazing show. I really think I love the show, The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. When I tell you that show was good from start to finish, acting on point, writing amazing, directing, producing, the lighting. Tracy, you will love that show. I was blown away. I liked Little Fires Everywhere. I liked a lot of shows. But when I tell you this was one, I'm not finished yet, but I am getting there. It was one of the best. So please do, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. And I didn't know Lorenz Tate had a new movie. And so I'm going to add that to the list. So everybody, good night before
No, Laquita, what's the name of the new movie?
Yeah, what's the name of the new Lorenz Tate movie? It's called Business Ethics. Is it on Netflix? How do we watch it? Netflix?
Don't watch Bad Hair.
Well, I heard that was not. Tell me what
you guys do. It's like a magic connection.
Yeah, it was not good.
This is my Scorpio season mug from my friend Candy. She ordered this special for me, and it is the Scorpio season mug for the show. So everybody, have a great, great night. Thank you guys for joining. Be blessed as we sit down and watch these results roll in.